Jessica Huie is an entrepreneur and best-selling author, helping women find and live their purpose in life. Before she did that, she had a glittering career as a journalist and publicist working with celebrities. So quite a journey, and we are talking about all that in this episode. How she got started, how you can live your life on purpose, and what might be stopping you, and so much more. Hey there, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast. I'm your host, Susanne Reiche, here to help yoga and wellness entrepreneurs build a thriving online business. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and earn money online, you are in the right place. Each week you learn about websites, digital products, social media strategies, and what's working now to build your online business. And now let's get started. Hi, Jessica. Welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
So why don't we start by you introducing yourself to our listeners and tell us what you do, who you are, and all the things.
Sure. So my name is Jessica Huie, and I'm the author of a book called Purpose and the founder of the Purpose Academy and the Purpose Retreat, which takes place every year in Jamaica. So my life is all things purpose today, but it's very different having spent sort of a huge chunk of my career was spent in the media, working as a celebrity publicist for some of the best known people in the world. And then in 2016, everything changed. I had an awakening experience. And whilst caring for my dad, who was at the end of his life. And through that period, I began to write, and that piece of writing evolved into my book Purpose, before it was a book. And it was really a sort of a moment where everything changed, from me to, my career to how I showed up in the world. And it's been this process of, peeling back the layers ever since.
I love that. I think I have to dive a little bit deeper there into your background. How did it evolve that you found your niche there? Was it clear really from the beginning how did you set up your own business talking about purpose?
Well, I mean, it's been an evolution. I believe that everything that we experience happens for us, and also that it all positions us perfectly to be who we are here to be today, right? So for me, the early part of my career, as I said, was in the media, working in show business, entertainment, really the antithesis to purpose in many ways, because my work today is about helping people to reconnect to who they are beneath the layers and, create a life from that place of, alignment and authenticity. Whereas a huge part of my career was spent controlling perceptions, in public relations, and, it was really the antithesis in many ways of what I do today. But those contrasting experiences have supported me in being able to do the work that I do today with people. But what can I say? I mean, I was an overachiever. I became a mum very young. I was 17 when I got pregnant, and I had no qualifications. I'd been expelled from school. And then one day somebody said, "Why don't you go back to school?" And that really was the beginning of my adult life. And I discovered early that the more I achieved, the better I was perceived by people. And so I kept achieving and soon enough, my whole identity was defined by my achievements and my output and my work and who I worked with. And so the last few years since that experience with my dad, as I said, have been about stripping off those layers of identity that aren't me, and creating a life which is much realer, feels much realer.
What do you do now? How do you help people find their purpose?
So the Purpose Academy is a 6-month journey online. The people that sign up are generally women who have discovered their thing. They know what their thing is. And they're often women who are disrupting outdated ways of being. They're disrupting sectors, whether it's law or the arts or the media, or it varies. That the sector is almost irrelevant, because it's about them recognizing that there's a new way of operating, and a new set of values are required in order for us to be progressive and sustainable and equitable. And so they're women who've often left the corporate world to start their own thing. So the Purpose Academy is really for people who have found their purpose but are ready to stop playing small, ready, to really
I love that.
into like greater visibility and own, really own their who they're here to be. And then through the Purpose Retreat, that's more for people who, have become disconnected from themselves and or just want to really bring themselves into a space where they're present and they're able to remember who they are beyond the labels and the roles and responsibilities. That's really finding your purpose is really about finding yourself. It's about, cultivating a relationship with yourself again. And so often we place the emphasis on what we're here to do. But actually, I believe that we need to first be before we can know what to do. We got it the wrong way around. It's an inside out job.
Yeah, a lot of our listeners are yoga teachers. And a lot of yoga teachers obviously had like a different life or career before they became a yoga teacher. It's very rarely that somebody, I think, decides like with 18 or 20 years old, I'm going to be a yoga teacher and make that my career. So it feels like they are really in the situation that a lot of your clients are, that they found their purpose and then they feel a little bit blocked. Like, what do they do with that? They're afraid to play big. They're still feeling they're not good enough because there always is more to learn. There's always another training to take. So do you have any tips for people who are in that situation, besides joining your academy, just like something small, actionable, like, or just like, how can they even like identify where they are? What would be like an easy step for them to take?
It's so interesting because I think, I agree with you. I guess most people, I'm a big yogi. I love yoga. I'm not a teacher, but it's a big part of my practice. And it's interesting because I think that sometimes we can leave one identity behind and find this thing that calls us and not realize that actually we become identified by that new thing and what comes with that. And I think that's, really common in the sort of wellness space and the spirituality space where, it can just become another identity, which comes with all of these ideas and false narratives about what we should and shouldn't do. And I think taking up space is often one of those things that's sort of frowned on, the idea that we would go out and intentionally want to be visible and use our voice. It's kind of, so I think the first thing is to probably, my tip would be to check in with, are there any narratives at play that are stopping you from expressing more of who you are? Because being a yoga teacher is still what you do. But who are you? Who are you and what do you have to share? And how can you share more of that through what you do? So that's my advice.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. It plays a little bit into then branding and building your business, but it's such an important step before that. And I also think like the yoga wellness world, it can be a little bit judgmental, or maybe we are just scared of other people judging us. What will our teachers think? What will our colleagues think? And that I think stops people sometimes from stepping out there or just sharing their opinions on things in a louder way, not without like really shouting it out there. Yeah, but I wish there would be more diversity. And I don't only mean like with races and colors, but also of opinions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, what is spiritual? Is it surely it's not to, spirituality isn't judgmental, right? It isn't. And so whether it's us fearing we're going to be judged or some real experience of judgment, if we are really committed to, the journey back to the truest essence of who we are, then we can sort of park that judgment stuff and move forward anyway, because it's not real. It's somebody's projection, whether it's ours or theirs. I think it's and people that are fully self-expressed are so magnetic. We need more of that in the world. And it takes courage to truly allow yourself to be seen, which is why, something like the Academy is so powerful, because you're doing it in a community of people. You're not alone. And that's the other tip. I would say find your people. I think it can be the hardest thing for us to do, to just be who we are. And so we need allies.
Definitely. That's always, I love building that kind of community as well. And I think it's so powerful. And also, we learn so much more and so much better also from what other people are asking or going through. Do you have an example that you can share, like some kind of golden case study, or how someone like found their purpose, how that changed their life or career? Or
I have many, but the one that comes up is a lady called Jude, and Jude was a doctor. She still is a doctor, actually, a senior consultant, and she her brand that she actually went on to launch is called Witchy Women, and also Dr. Body, Mind, Soul. But Jude was a senior consultant who was really frustrated that outside of work, she was able to experience the power of things like Reiki and plant medicine. But when she came into work, she wasn't allowed to suggest, anything that was sort of so-called alternative, despite her increasing insight into the power of non-pharmaceutical modalities for wellness, right? And this conflict started to build, which I know many people who are listening will relate to, where your own values and what you kind of know to be true intuitively start to conflict with the paradigm within which you're existing, be that an industry or a job or whatever. And then comes the call to really listen to yourself and be true to yourself, right? So Jude made the leap, and she set up Dr. Body, Mind, Soul and Witchy Women to really be a bridge between the worlds of science and non-pharmaceutical therapies. And so she's helping people who want to understand, to have a holistic response to their illness or their physical ailment. And she's really being a stand for that. But it's been such a journey for her to find the courage to speak out, to stand for herself and what she feels is right and true. And that the beauty of this process, as we start to live our purpose more and more and listen to ourselves, is that you start to really get to know who you are and what feels good. And so she ended up moving to Mexico. So she was working in Tulum for a part of the year. And just really honoring who she is and how she wants to. And this is a woman who was a complete, she was on the ward every single day, night, just so many hours, working around the clock, always frazzled. So it's been beautiful to watch her just blossom. And when we live our purpose, we can't help but be of service in the world. And that's, everybody benefits.
It's definitely, I think when you build a business or want to be an entrepreneur, even as an employee, when you have a strong mission, it's going to make everything easier. It's what you need. Like that mission, that vision where you want to get, but also I think mission is, I think it's a bigger word because it also contains the people you want to help, like the bigger impact, the impact you want to make, the imprint you want to leave in this world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's a really beautiful work you're doing, helping people figure that out. I love it. It's amazing. So where do people find you? So we have to talk a little bit how you build your online business because you're obviously successful. You also wrote a book. How did that all happen? Where do people find you? How did you get started there?
I mean, it was my background. You know, I come from a background as a publicist, as I said, and working in public relations. So I had a skill set which is very natural for me, which I know has been useful. But nonetheless, you know, I think sometimes we overthink. I mean, I'm all for strategy. I really am. But I think the most powerful thing we can do is be in social engagement. We have to talk to people. You know, there is no app or piece of software that is going to do it for you. Like it's a
marketing fairy that everybody's looking for.
Yeah, that everybody's looking for. She's gone AWOL. It's like you have to talk to people, and you know, people will refer you and recommend you and want to, you know, I hate the word follow, and will be part of your community. And that's the most powerful thing I think we can do. You know, first and foremost is be in conversation, sharing ourselves, moving beyond the fear of rejection to connect, because surely, you know, business is just a vehicle for connection when we strip it back. And then beyond that, you know, there's all sorts of things that we can do to you know, work on the aesthetics and of what it is that we're sharing. But I don't think any of that is nearly as interesting as, you know, the real stuff, the stuff that's kind of foundational. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just like, it's also, building the connections and just getting started and doing the work, creating the offers.
Get out there and share it.
I mean,
take it to people. Mm-hmm.
Probably like writing a book is probably something that takes a lot of work and effort. So you can't manifest that, right? So you still have to sit down and just do it. Yeah.
It's a delicious process. It's one of the things that I share now. You know, I support people in writing their book and getting started, and because it's you know, the course is called Bigger Than a Book because it is like it's such a powerful, even if you don't want to be published. And I feel you wince when I mention my course, and I want to talk about that because it's part of the problem. We have to get comfortable with sharing what it is that we have to contribute. We have to get comfortable with it because it's part of that same like old kind of outdated association that we have with what it is to be, you know, a spiritual person or to be in wellness. Like if you have something that's in service, you know, get comfortable in sharing it. Just get comfortable in sharing it, because imagine if you have something that can help me to become more of who I'm here to be. You do me a disservice if you don't tell me about it because you feel uncomfortable selling.
Yeah. And I think it's important actually to also don't shy away from saying selling unless, I mean, when you have really negative emotions attached to words like selling or marketing, yes, when you say like sharing and inviting people, it can feel different in your body. But I think we also should work on really owning those words. And, you know, like I would want to see a world where like every second advertisement is for a wellness service. Or for yoga. I think that would be amazing instead of just pharmaceuticals. Right? So I don't think the problem is that marketing is bad or selling is bad, because as you said, you need it.
Yeah. And yeah, totally. And we're all consuming. We're all consuming. But what are we consuming? Are we consuming the things that are, nourishing and supporting us in our individual dreams and goals and desires? But if anybody is listening that wants to write, just start. Start journaling every single morning. Just pick up a pen and your journal and get into the habit of writing, because it's just the most transformational process, particularly when you're writing, I think nonfiction, your story or sharing your insights. It's very, very powerful.
Are you working on something? Are you writing another book or?
Yeah, I'm going to write forever. It's like I found the love of it again when I was caring for my dad, and I really haven't put down the pen since. So I'm enjoying just playing with writing a novel at the moment.
Oh.
No pressure. We'll just see. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. I remember, I think I read somewhere that you just like block some time, even if it's like early in the morning when everybody else is still sleeping, to sit down and write for a few 2 hours or something, or 1 hour, and just going to add up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or even 15 minutes. Just start, it's one brick at a time, isn't it?
So how do you help people who feel like they're not good enough yet to do that? Nobody would be interested in what they have to say.
I think there's a lot that happens through, you have to take we have to be self-responsible, right? So I think the first step is even acknowledging that we are speaking to ourselves like that. that there is this voice which is sabotaging us and our expansion. And I think just in acknowledging the voice, it loses some of its power, a lot of its power. And so that's the other way that kind of writing helps to build that awareness, because we start to become a bystander and an observer of what's going on in our own minds. And then we start to have the choice as to whether or not we listen. And then I think just, by osmosis, by being around other people who are having similar kind of internal struggles, people start to feel encouraged and empowered to move forward, So again, get yourself a group or get a writing buddy. Take responsibility for giving yourself the container, whether it's a paid for course or it's just you and a friend. Arm yourself with the sort of defense that you need against your mind's chatter.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I also see it. We live in a patriarchal society. It's still difficult. It's still easier for women to accept that the man is like the main breadwinner, and they're just like supporting the household or something, which is not playing big, right?
I don't know. I'm a single mom. I can't comment. That's not my world.
Well, mine neither. But I've seen that happening, especially in the pandemic, also with yoga teachers. Like, yoga teacher used to be a job that rarely brought in a full-time income for somebody, right? So a lot of them have been, maybe not comfortable, but kind of accepting of the fact that it's just like a little like a hobby, or a little bit more than a hobby that they do, and that they earn a little bit of money with it per month, but they're still depending on their husband's income or something. And then maybe in the pandemic, suddenly the husband lost their job, or right now with the recession, and it's just like forces them to step up. I think it forces women to step up. Hopefully. I think it would be a good thing. Not maybe like when you look at it individually, and it sounds like it's a really stressful situation, but for the society as a whole, for women to step up and play bigger?
I think I think we all have so much to give. We all have so much to contribute, and I think we should all live lives that feel like the truest expression of who we are. I think that's the point, and I think it looks different for all of us. And no path is better than any other. And the essence of what it is to be a woman is very much needed in this world.
I love that you said that. I think I came across as a little bit judgmental here, which I didn't intend to. So I apologize for that. I'm not judging anybody who's a housewife or who gets supported by their husband. Not at all. So, but you're right. Yeah. So it's finding your purpose. It's about finding what drives you on your mission, right? So whatever that looks like.
Yeah, who are you? I don't think it's about doing. I think it's just being more you. How can I be more me? And it has less about going out and finding a mission and more to do with dropping the layers of who we're not. And as we start to drop those layers of who we're not and become more ourself, our true self, we can't help but be inspired to do certain things that resonate with us. So that for me is purpose.
Yes, it's beautiful. So what actually brought you to Jamaica to do your retreat?
My dad was Jamaican, so I always had a connection to the island. And just in this process of getting clearer on the environments that I thrive. I wanted to spend more time in nature. I wanted to give my son that experience, and so I made the decision to move in the pandemic. And now we live between the UK and Jamaica, and it just felt very natural to want to share this incredibly healing island. Because it really is. It has more. Medicinal herbs than anywhere else in the world. Healing is literally growing everywhere. And we're in our 3rd year now, and it's a very beautiful annual week-long experience.
Oh, I love that you started doing that also with the pandemic. So escaping the English winter, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's definitely a benefit of it, for sure.
I love that. So where can people go to learn more about you?
The best place is my website, which is Jessica Huie, which is HUIE.com. And Instagram, I like to play with Instagram, Jessica_Huie_ and LinkedIn. Those are probably my favorite platforms.
And I'll share the links in the show notes. But thanks, Jessica, for being on the show, for taking the time. I loved having you here.
You're so welcome. Sending you much love and blessings. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blissful Biz podcast. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes. This would mean the world to me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to never miss a new episode. To learn more about how to work with me one-on-one, my courses and membership, or to get instant access to freebies, workshops, and more, go to SusanneReiker.com right now. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.